Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to all of you, my wonderful, beautiful subscribers and non-subscribers alike, and new and old. I am so glad to have you here today. I am going to be showing you all how to do the Duchess Lace stitch. I am going to whip up two different swatches because there are two variations to doing the stitch. The first one that I am going to work up is the stitch that I will be using for the cape pattern that I have created, or I am creating for all of you to follow. Hopefully this will give you a little bit of practice on how to do it. You can choose which method you would prefer to use. So without any further hesitation, let us get started. This pattern is used in multiples of 3 plus 1 for the foundation chain. We will most likely not be needing that. Well, no, we will be needing that chain 1 when we start into the actual pattern on the cape. So yes, so we are going to just definitely go from here. So to begin with, I'm using a 5mm crochet hook. It is a furls, and I am using just some plain worsted 4-weight yarn. It is a 4-weight yarn. It is 100% acrylic for this tutorial. The yarn I am using in the pattern as well is a 4-weight. I would not recommend making that cape in a 3-weight because it's just not going to be the same. All right, so to start with, multiples of 3 plus 1 for the foundation chain. I'm going to start by making my slip knot. And I'm going to chain up, let's say, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, oh, whoops, 10, get back on there, 11 and 12, and 13, 14, and 15. So I'm just going, no, I'm going to do a little bit more. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. So I chain 21 plus 1 for the turning chain, it says. Now what you are going to do is you are going to count 4 chains from your hook, remembering that the chain on your hook does not count. And you're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. Into that 4th chain, you are going to place 2 double crochets, which is yarn over, put your hook through the chain, bring chain yarn over, go through 2 and go through 2. Okay, so there you go. And then you are going to chain 3, and you are going to slip stitch right back into that chain. Then you are going to skip 2 stitches, and into that 3rd chain, you are going to repeat the exact same thing. You are going to place 2 double crochets, whoop-bye, chain 3, and slip stitch back into the chain. Again, you're going to skip 2. Into the 3rd, you're going to place 2 double crochets, chain 3, and that chain 3 is very important, everybody. Please don't forget to do that chain 3, and this is a slip stitch, not a single crochet. You're slip stitching. Again, skip 2 into the third, 2 double crochets, chain 3, and slip stitch back into that same chain. Oops, come on. Get in there. I hope that you're seeing what I'm doing, guys. Skip 2 into the third. We're just going to go all the way across, and then I'll show you what the repeat is after we do this for the first variation of how to do this stitch. So that's 2, chain 3, and slip stitch, skip 2, we're almost there, guys, 2 double crochets, chain 3, and slip stitch into the same chain. Again, skip 2, 1, 2, and into the very last stitch, you will do just 1 double crochet. This is how your first row will look. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to chain 3, and you will always begin now with a chain 3, turn your work around, and you will end with a double crochet in that last one. So version 1 is you can double crochet your stitches underneath the chain. So it's 2 double crochets into that chain 3 space, chain 3 again, and slip stitch. No chaining in between, you go directly into the next chain 3 spot. Place your 2 double crochets, chain 3, and slip stitch again into that chain 3 space, going underneath, not into the chains, 2 double crochets, chain 3, and slip stitch again into the chain 3 space underneath, 2 double crochets, chain 3, and slip stitch. On to the next. 2 double crochets. You're going to do this all the way to the end. 2 double crochets, chain 3, and slip stitch. And now we've come to the last one here. You're going to do the exact same thing. Go underneath. It's 2 double crochets. Come on. 2 double crochets, chain 3, and slip stitch. Come on. And then what you are going to do is in the top here, where you did your chain 1, you are going to place a double crochet. And this is what your work should look like. Now, it gets easier from here because now you have your double crochet here and a double crochet here, which squares it out. And you will notice that if you continue going along this way, you won't even have to add a border to something because it will give you that really pretty scallop type looking edge. Again, what you're going to do is you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, whoops, and loosey-goosey here, 1, 2, and 3. Turn your work. Once again, you're going underneath, and it's now repeating. 1, 2, chain 3, and slip stitch. Again, under the chain 3 is 2 double crochets, chain 3, and slip stitch. Again, 2 double crochets under that chain 3 spot, chain 3, and slip stitch. You continue doing that, and I will meet you at the end and show you where we're going to do that last double crochet. We will be right back. Okay, I am coming up to the last one. I am placing my last two double crochets, chain 3, and slip stitch underneath that chain 3 spot. And now what you are going to do is you're going to count 1, 2, 3, and you're going to end with a double crochet, picking up both loops in your turning chain. And that's how you're going to end it, and that is how it will look as you're going along. We will do one more row just so that you see what I'm doing. So again, chaining 3, 2, and 3. Turn your work around and place 2 double crochets, 1, 2, chain 3. Don't forget that chain 3, everybody. And don't forget, this is a slip stitch, not a single crochet. I am going to continue going down this route by doing this exact same thing under each chain 3. Space, oh, without losing it off my hook. 1, 2, 3. And slipping. I will meet you back up at the end. Okay, I have reached the last 2 double crochets, chain 3, slip stitch under the chain 3 spot, and you end in the 3rd chain from the hook. 1, 2, and 3. Catch both strands, making sure that your stitch is not like loose there, and you place 1 double crochet into the top of that chain 3 turning chain from the previous row. That is it for this version of this pattern, which is the 1 row repeat All you're going to continue to do is chain 3 and continue to go into each and every one of your chain 3 spaces, not going into the chains, but under the chains, and you're going to place your 2 double crochets, chain 3, slip stitch, all in those same spaces until you get to the end. At the end, you will place a double crochet into the 3rd chain from the hook, 3rd chain up of the previous chain 3, and then you will chain 3, turn your work around, and continue to go. So this is version 1 of how to do this stitch. I'll just pull this out and bring this a little bit closer so that you can all see what this stitch looks like. It is absolutely beautiful. It is not one of those stitches where you can increase in rows. So with regards to the cape, the increased rows are going to be the half double crochets, and then I will show you how to get into that, and then the rest of the pattern is going to be basically like this. Now I will show you a version 2 of how to do this stitch, which is a 2-row repeat instead of a 1-row repeat. But the end result is basically going to be the same. I will leave it up to you as to which version of this particular stitch, the Duchess Lace stitch, you will decide that you want to use in your pattern. Until then, everybody, I will get set up for the next little swatch to show you for version 2 of this stitch. Okay, version 2 of the exact same stitch. This is the 2-row repeat version of it. Just to be fair, I wanted to show everybody how to do both so that you would have a choice in which specific one you decide you want to use in the cape pattern that we are creating for my crochet along, which will air tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday. All right, so I have chained up 21 plus 1 for my turning chain, and into the 4th chain from the hook. Remember, chain on your hook does not count. You're going to count 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to do the exact same thing you did with the first one. This is your setup row. So it is 2 double crochets, chain 3, and slip stitch. This does not alter for your setup row. Again, skip 2 in the 3rd chain, 2 double crochets, chain 2, chain 3, I'm sorry about that, and slip stitch. Again, I'm going to reiterate that chain 3 is very important, and it is a slip stitch, not a single crochet, that will totally alter this stitch pattern. Again, you're going to skip 2, 1, and 2. Sorry, let me just get that out of the way here. Skip your 2 and into the 3rd. You're going to do the exact same thing like we did last time. It's 2 double crochets, chain 3. Oops, that's only 1. Let's try that again. We need to place 2 double crochets before the chain 3. I apologize, guys. So that's 1. That's 2. Chain 3. And slip stitch. I will meet you back to when we have 2 remaining chains. You will continue in that fashion. You will skip 2 chains into the 3rd chain. You will place 2 double crochets, chain 3, and a slip stitch all into that same chain. Skip 2, 3rd chain into the next, which is the 3rd. You will place your 2 double crochets, chain 3, slip stitch. I will meet you back at the end when we have 2 stitches left. Okay, we are at the end of our setup row. I have 3 chains remaining. In your last chain, you will place a double crochet. So that has not changed from the first pattern. All right, so you're still going to have the exact same thing in row 1. This is where the variation switches. You're going to chain up 3. You're going to turn your work around, and instead of going under your chain 3 here, what you are going to do is you're going to go into your first chain and place a double crochet, making sure that you pick up both loops. You are going to go into your second chain, picking up both loops, and double crochet. You must chain 3. That does not change. And then in your 3rd chain, just before what you're going to see your 2 doubles are, that is where you are going to place your slip stitch. Now come on, get under both, guys. There you go. And that is where you're going to place the slip stitch. You're going to go directly to the next chain 3 space, and you're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to go into the chains instead of under the chains. In the first one, if you remember, you did 3. You're going to place your first double crochet. Into the second chain, you're going to place your second double crochet. You're going to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. And into your 3rd chain, you are going to place that slip stitch, making sure that you pick up both chains. All right, guys? Again, you go into the first chain. There's no chaining in between this stitch. So it's 1 double crochet into the first chain, 1 double crochet into the second chain, and a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. And you are going to continue to do that until you reach the end, and then I will show you what to do from there. So remember, in this version of the Duchess Lace stitch, we are not going under the chain. We are going into the chains that we created. You're going to do your first double crochet in the first one, your second double crochet in the second one, your chain 3, and then your slip stitch into the 3rd. I will meet you at the end of this row. Okay, I have come to the very, very end. Now, we did not do a chain 3 coming up here. So what you are going to do is you are going to pick up this stitch from the very bottom here, and that is where you are going to place your double crochet at the end of this row, which will help to square it out and bring it up to the same height as the rest of your project. From here on out, all we are going to do is repeat rows 1 and 2. You will always chain 3 at the beginning and turn your work around. and you will always end with a double crochet in the top of the chain 3 space. So if you remember in pattern 1, what we did was we went underneath. So this is your repeat. You go underneath on this row 2 times underneath the chain 3, your chain 3, and your slip stitch. You will continue that along this row underneath the chain 3, and slip stitch. You will continue to do that all the way to the end, and I will meet you back up there. So that's 2, 2, and 3, and slip stitch. You will continue going under the chain 3 spot until you reach the end, and then when you reach the end, after you've done your 2 double crochets, a chain 3 slip stitch, and the last one, you will end it with a double crochet in the 3rd chain, 1, 2, and 3, making sure that you grab both loops when you are ending your double crochet. I will meet you back up there when we get there. Alrighty then. I am coming to the end of row 1, 2, 3, where we are now going under the chain 3 spaces and creating those 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, chain 3, and my slip stitch, and then into the top of my chain 3, 1, 2, 3, catching both loops, my double crochet. And this is what it will look like after you've done row 3. Row 4 is a repeat of row 2, which is where we actually go into the chains, not under the chains. So we will go through that one more time. You chain up 3, whoops, helps if I've got this turned right, 1, 2, and 3. Turn your work around into the very first chain. Now for those of you who do tight chains and tight crocheting, you might not be comfortable with this version of the stitch. If this is the stitch preference that you want to use, I highly recommend chaining a little bit looser so that you're able to get in. So you're going into the first, you're going into the second. Do not forget to chain your 3. Very important, I can't stress that. And slip stitch, not single crochet into the last, whoops. Not slip off the hook, slip stitch into the last stitch. Sorry, everybody. All right. And then again, I'm just going to pull some yarn. You go directly into the first chain. Sorry. First chain and double crochet. Go into your second chain. Chain 3. And slip stitch into the last. Always making sure that you are picking up both. Okay? So you're going to continue to do that in this row, going into your chains. Oh, come on, work with me. 1 and 2. Chaining 3. 1, 2, and 3. and slip stitching into the last. Oops. My hook keeps wanting to slip right out of the last. Silly thing. I will meet you right back at the end once you have done your 2 double crochets, chain 3, and slip stitch into your chain 3, not under, into it, and we will end with our double crochet. I will meet you back up there. I am coming to the end of row 4. I am going to now double crochet into the 3rd chain, coming up from the previous row, the top of our chain 3, and you're going to place your double crochet. Again, you're going to chain 3 and turn your work around, and you're going to continue to do what I just showed you in this version of the Duchess Lace stitch. So one row is your 2 double crochets under, chain 3 and slip stitch, and one row is using the actual chains by placing a double crochet, chain 3, and a slip stitch, and then going into the next. So you just continue to repeat each row. I'm going to work up a little bit bigger of a swatch for you to show you. Right now I am doing the under the chain 3, and then it will be into the chain 3s. So I'm going to work up another couple of rows just to show you the differences and see if you think there is a difference, and which specific version of this pattern you would prefer to use. I will meet you back up in just a couple of minutes. All right, I have come to the end of the last row on this particular swatch. I ended it, and if you are going to use this particular version where you are doing your setup row, and then your 2nd row is into the chains, your 3rd row is under the 3 chains, your 4th row is into the chains, you will need to end it in the under the 3 chains in order to fasten off. And then all you will do is you will do that, cut off your yarn, and pull that through. I'm not going to, well, yeah, what the heck. I'm going to do that. All right. So now we have 2 different versions of the exact same stitch. Version 1 was just going into underneath the 3 chains, doing your double crochets, your 2 double crochets, your chain 3s, your 2 double crochets, your chain 3, and slip stitching. And that's just repetitive, chain 3, turn, do the exact same thing, go underneath the chain 3 spaces, do your 2 double crochets, chain 3, and slip stitch. This one was used the exact same way as we set up this one, but your 2nd row was going into the chain 3s, not under it. So it was a double crochet into the 1st chain, a double crochet into the 2nd chain, chain 3, and a slip stitch into your 3rd. Always beginning and ending with double crochets at the end. The version I am using to make the cape is this version, which is a 1-row repeat. I don't know if you can really tell the difference. And how that turns out. But I wanted to give you alternative methods on how to do it and to teach it the proper way, because there are two different ways to do this stitch. I'm using version 1 instead of version 2. I wanted to keep things simple. There is very, very, very little difference in doing it either way. Like a slight variation, but in general, the end result is the same. So I leave it up to you which version 1, which is the single row repeat, or version 2, which is a 2-row repeat. That is the Duchess Lace stitch, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And if you have any questions whatsoever, please let me know. You can email me or leave a comment underneath this video, and I will get back to you and answer any questions that you might have. Let's continue to be creative, have fun, learn new stitches, and stay inspired. Until then, everybody, stay blessed, and remember, do all things with kindness. Bye for now.